Hi there. Welcome to the webinar. So glad you're here. You are at the right place at this correct, perfectly correct, God-ordained time. And I just want to start this webinar by making a promise to you that you are going to walk away from the next hour having perfect clarity on how to design a life and business you love. And I am just so excited. I'm here with my very good friend, Donna Partow. And I just want to take a few minutes to introduce her and I to you, since some of you watching may not know who we are. My name is Tamara Aragon, and I've been an entrepreneur a good portion of my life. I was raised by parents who weren't really entrepreneurial, but I had that entrepreneurial bug in me at a very early age. I remember selling light bulbs door to door, bought them for a quarter and sold them for $1. And once I saw the profits to be made there and how happy it made when people were able to easily get a product from me and get that kudos and change their lives. They found a little light in their lives for what I sold them. That was when I was like 10. From then on, I just knew this was something I wanted to pursue. So, but I did go to a little bit of college and got a degree and went off at age 20, the ripe old age of 20, and I earned my first $1 million at a business where I sold clothing for elderly and nursing homes. So that business ran successfully for many, many years. And since then, I've developed many other multi-million-dollar companies and successfully run several of those today. But my true passion lies in helping others discover their passion and how to take it to the world and monetize it and enjoy a life doing it. That's lifestyle freedom, being able to not just be bogged down with work and making money, but actually make a difference and an impact in the lives of others. So now, because as much as I love running a business and doing all those things, what I love the most in my life is freedom. And what that means is a lot of people say freedom. Well, how does freedom and work together? How does that work? Well, I like the opportunity to be able to work on my own schedule, be able to work from anywhere I want. And the best part, this is probably the biggest part for me, is to be able to have unlimited impact on the world and unlimited income opportunities. So it allows you to do those things. And you're going to learn how to do that in your own life here in just a little bit. And now I am so honored to introduce you to one of the most inspirational, powerful women I've had the privilege to call friend, Donna Partow. Donna and I met 20 years ago. We were at a Christian conference where she was the keynote speaker, and we met over lunch. We got to talking, and we got so involved in our conversation that we lost track of time. And suddenly, I don't know how much time went by, but we looked around and the lunchroom was empty, and Donna was supposed to be on stage speaking. Somebody was in there looking for Donna, you're supposed to be on stage speaking. So we've just had that kind of connection right from the very beginning. And I am sure that you're going to feel the same way when you hear what she has to say. Now, I'm going to tell you that she is had many, many successes in her life, and I want to go over some of those with you so you can know why you need to really pay attention to what Donna has to say. Donna is the author and motivational speaker with a passion to empower people to accomplish their own life's mission. Now, her books have sold 1 million copies worldwide and have been translated into numerous languages. And in fact, she's one of in today's world, our time, one of the best-selling Christian women authors of our time. So it's quite an honor to have her here right now. She is, without a doubt, just by what I just told you in our conversation, a gifted communicator. She just draws you in. She's spoken twice at the Central Intelligence Agency headquarters and has been featured at Senator John McCain's annual conference for women 3 times. Donna initiated the concept and toured the Women of Virtue Donna's been featured on hundreds of radio stations. If some of you know Focus on the Family, for instance, and television shows. Over the past 20 years, her business ventures have ranged from marketing. She has amazing e-courses. If you look on her website, you'll see all that she offers. She was actually one of the first content providers on the internet when she was serving as the work from home coach and co-created one of the first content that was being offered on the internet back in the day when we didn't even know what that was. She's traveled and worked throughout the United States and on 6 continents, including diverse countries such as Egypt, Turkey, Colombia, Thailand, and Papua New Guinea. Just this year, thanks to online autopilot systems and the residual income she was able to create and earn, she traveled 4 months straight, including 3 weeks leading a biblical tour in Greece and Italy, and 3 months studying Spanish in Costa Rica, culminating in teaching at our last 7 Days to Freedom event. She is here to teach you now, and I want to encourage you to put your distractions away and take notes. Get your pen out, pay attention, as Donna Partow shares how you can experience lifestyle freedom, creating a life and business you love. Welcome, Donna.
We are talking today to those who sense a higher call. I know that this hour is not for everybody. I totally get that, but I'm sure it's for you because you've responded to this invitation. You're someone who wants to be challenged to play a little bit bigger game. You're someone who believes that God has placed some things inside of you, whether a life message, a ministry, a business idea, but you want to go higher. You want to live all out. You are not content with just kind of the mediocre, run of the mill, do what is expected, jump through the hoops and play small like the rest of the world is doing. You have a higher call, and that's why you're here. And you really are the reason I think I'm on planet Earth right now. I'm here to raise up Christians. I hope that doesn't offend anybody. I mean, I love everybody and wherever you're at, that's fine. But my specific mandate is to raise up an army of Christians to experience radical personal and professional development so that they can maximize their moment in history and really just go all in and go after it. And the whole key, honestly, is focus. That's the problem. Not the millions of things that could be done in and through your life, but the one thing in front of you, the one call that is going to make the greatest impact during your, that dash between the day you were born and the day that you die. And here's the reality. What used to work is not working anymore because of the economic upheaval that we've just come through. And I believe we've been through about 7-8 years of famine. And the good news is we are now coming into a season of abundance. I'm convinced of that. But there's technological changes. Things are moving so quickly now. There's information deluge. In fact, information is no longer valuable. Information is a commodity. So the information age is over and we've moved into the age of the expert. And so now what do we see? Along with the information deluge, now there's a deluge and an endless parade of gurus and experts. And it can be overwhelming because you don't know who to believe. You don't know who to trust. You don't know who to listen to. I would say listen to the Holy Spirit first and foremost. But I want you to know today that you're not alone. The rules have changed. What used to work, there's then and there's now. There's what used to work and there's what's working now. And you've got to learn the new rules of the game. And all of us have to find a new way of showing up in the world. And I want you to be encouraged. Whether you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, whatever age you are, the rest of your years can be the best of your years, especially this coming decade. There are so many opportunities. I love to listen to, these experts and podcasts of futurists and people who really have their finger on the pulse of what's happening now. And everyone is saying that there is the internet is really, I can tell you how old the internet is. Because my first job was co-creating one of the first websites in existence. It's ivillage.com. I was one of a handful of people who helped create that site. And I did it pregnant with my daughter, 21. The internet is only 20 years old, 2 decades. That's nothing. Social media is about 14 years old. So if you're thinking, oh, I'm too late to the party, all the opportunities are over. That would be like the first person after they discovered irrigation in Egypt saying, well, I guess that whole farming thing is over. Or after the first person built a factory saying, well, look there's 20 factories. I guess there's no room for me. No, the agricultural age was just beginning when the Egyptians discovered irrigation. The factory age was just beginning. And the age of the expert, it's still in its infancy, and the opportunities are going to explode in the coming decade and beyond. But you've got to begin today to make great decisions for your life. A new season is ahead of fruitfulness and prosperity for those who are willing to do what it takes. Planting seeds, tending the garden, watering it. Today, you're going to receive powerful insight. Specifically, we're going to talk about how and why to design and really to get back, I shouldn't say design, to get in touch with God's original blueprint for your life. I wish I had phrased it that way. But to how and why you should design a life and a business that you'll actually love. And it's so possible. Why would you not do it? The number one investment that you should make right now, and Tamara won't like this, but it's not real estate. The one success key that most people lack, but that you can easily acquire. 14 things that prosperous people do that you can so easily do. You're probably doing some of them, but I want to challenge you to take it to the next level. The 7 most important steps to a prosperous life. How to reduce your taxes by an average of $8,000 per year. And at the end of this presentation, we're going to show you how to access your free bonus gifts. You're going to get a copy of my book, ebook format, Becoming the Ultimate You, a form from Tamara, The Goals Rush, and a really cool document that she's put a ton of research into, 77 ways to find money. It's really pretty cool. But today's presentation is about you. It's about who you are, because now, more than ever before in human history, the number one predictor of the quality of life that you will lead is the person in the mirror. You. Not where you're born, not who your parents are. You. And that's why we want to give you this resource, Becoming the Ultimate You. And actually that ebook, some of you are in the class, grew into my class, Make This Your Best Year Ever. That's how it starts. It always starts with me with a book and then grows into a class. But it's all about who you are. The big change in the rules is that it's about being the right person. It used to be about having the right parents, being born in the right place, going to the right schools, having the right job, having the right doors opened for you, meeting the right people. All these other, you know what it is right now? It's about being the right person. And for a lot of us, that's really good news because in a prior day, your well-being was really dependent on a lot of forces outside your control. And really now the locus of control has shifted inwards. And I think it's actually really good news. And that's why the greatest investment that you can possibly make for this new economy is not real estate. It's not stocks and bonds. It's you. Investing in yourself, investing in your own personal and professional development. And this is the problem. When we send out these surveys, and it's always the same, and it doesn't matter how much money you make. I mean, you could be making hundreds of thousands. Some of you, maybe you're making millions, but no matter how much money we make, come on, not just me, be honest. No matter how much money we have or don't have, we still think we have a money problem. It's just this universal thing. And the truth is, I was praying about this a few years ago. We had sent out a survey and I was praying over the survey and everybody said, well, I have a money problem. And the Lord said, my people don't have a money problem. They have a wisdom problem. You have a wisdom problem. The Bible says wisdom is a shelter, just as money is a shelter. But the advantage of knowledge is this: wisdom preserves the life of its possessor. See, the people who lost in the famine were the people who panicked and sold off all their seed. Wisdom is the number one foundation to designing a life and business you love. Now, here's what's really cool. The spirit of wisdom, the Holy Spirit is the spirit of wisdom and revelation. He designed you. and will happily hand you the original blueprint if you just ask. In fact, I'm telling you right now, if you know and love God, and I'm sure you do, you totally have the inside track because you have day sires. Day sire, it means of the Father. He has already put those day sires within you. And every one of your day sires, as long as they're honoring to God, are a clue to what the original blueprint is. If you see someone who's written a book and you're like, oh, I want to do that, it's a reflection of the original blueprint. If you see someone traveling and speaking, you're like, oh, I want to do that. That's because it's part of your original blueprint. That day sire is of the Father. It's a reflection of and a clue of what your original design, your original blueprint is all about. Now, here's the key to financial freedom. It's all about your ability to manage, not your portfolio. It's about your ability to manage yourself and motivate yourself so that you can add massive value to the world. It's time to focus on becoming the kind of person who's doing two things. Number one, getting results in a specific area of your own life. And then number two, turning around and helping other people get those same results. I'll say that again because it's probably the most important thing I'm going to say for a lot of you. If you want to become prosperous, if you want to live the life you were born to live, you've got to do these two things. You've got to focus on getting results in a specific area of your own life. And I'll give you a hint. You already have a desire to excel at it. And then help other people get those same results. That's the entire secret. Now, I think it's just amazing that in this new season that we're moving into, the people who will be the most prosperous are those who help the most people solve their problems and get better results in their lives. I don't know about anybody else, but I can't think of any time in history that I would have preferred living. I can't think of another time in history when the secret to becoming the most prosperous person of all was helping the most people solve their problems. I think it's pretty cool. And that's why I think Christians of all people should be at the forefront and the most prosperous. The opportunities today truly are unlimited. You can have a life and a business that you love. What do you have to do? You have to solve problems and help people improve their lives. And if you'll do that, you can have a great life and make a great living. And what you're looking for is the sweet spot. And again, I'm just touching this really lightly today, but I want to at least challenge your thinking. You need to find that sweet spot between stuff that you love to do. You have that day sire. Stuff that you're good at because you've done what? You've developed skill. That's important. You've got to develop skill and really be good at it. And then the last piece is stuff someone will pay you to do or help them learn to do. And that's more easily defined by one word, problem. People will pay you to help them solve their problems if you can demonstrate to them that you're able to do that. That's kind of the sweet spot, the intersection of those three things. And so maybe you just kind of be jotting down, maybe have those three lists and look for the cross section of them. And this is not just about you and your life, because who we become impacts everyone who knows us. And it has a ripple effect that literally has the potential to touch the world and even generations to come. God wants you to be a light in the world. And one way to do that is to travel all over the world like I do. But an easier way to do that is sitting on your laptop in your own living room or sitting on your iPad at a local coffee shop and communicating with people all over the world. The internet and social media is just taking off. It's only getting bigger and bigger and bigger until eventually, maybe all 7 billion people on planet Earth will be within the sound of your voice, able to hear your message. Come on, this is incredible. People like John Wesley had to get on a horse and talk to whoever was in earshot. Think about Jesus. He could only speak to people who were within earshot during his time on earth. You can speak right now and literally reach millions and tens of millions of people. My kids were looking at a humorous video last night on YouTube. It had reached 1 billion people. One little homespun video had reached 1 billion people. the opportunities are unlimited. If you have a heart to help people, and I know you do. And along with that, priorities are shifting. And that's why I'm talking to you today about lifestyle freedom. And let me kind of define a little bit of what I mean by that. It encompasses spiritual and emotional freedom, not letting old stuff hold you back or determine how you respond to situations, about breaking free from self-imposed limitations and allowing yourself to dream big and to do, just as Tamara challenged me, saying, Donna, you've got a big God. He's giving you some really big talents and, you need to start showing up and playing a bigger game. And I think that that's a message for a lot of us, not just for me. Spiritual and emotional freedom is about living for what is truly significant. And here's the key. Okay, so the spiritual is living for what is truly significant. Emotional freedom is letting go of the insignificant. Financial freedom. And what that looks like for different people varies. And what we encourage people to do is, what does your ideal life look like? And write it down. And if you want, even calculate the cost. And when you can sustain that lifestyle without reporting for duty somewhere every day, then you've got lifestyle freedom. If you can create passive income streams, if you can create courses on the internet and put them on autopilot, or as Tamara has done with real estate, whatever, that you come to a place where money serves you. Money works for you. You don't work for money. Jesus said, we entrusted you with this much. What did you do with it? And the people came back and said, quote, this is what your money has earned for you. This is what your money has earned for you. And those people he put in charge of cities. In the other parable, it's a different parable where he said, well, this is what I did with your money. And he said, oh, well, you did well with money. I'll give you more money. But the people who said, this is what your money did for you, those he put in charge of cities, beyond the scope of what I can teach, but I think I just challenged somebody today. Financial freedom is when you understand you're not working for money. Money is working for you. Jesus said you can't serve two masters. Well, guess what? If you have to get up every day and go make money, money is your master. The only way to get out of that relationship with money is when you become the master and your money works for you. That is the goal, to have your money making money, or having the systems that you've created making money for you. That's financial freedom. The Bible tells us God delights in the prosperity of his people. Then the Lord your God will make you most prosperous in all the work of your hands. So he's not going to make you most prosperous with a lottery ticket, right? He's going to make you prosperous out of the work of your hands. So we have a part and God has a part. We sow the seed, God sends the sun and the rain and provides the harvest. In Deuteronomy, God said, see, I set before you today life and prosperity, death and destruction. We get to choose. Do we want death and destruction, or do we want life and prosperity? And at some point we have to decide. Decide is to cut off all the other options. It means to go all in and make a radical commitment that I'm going to do what it takes to get out of this slave relationship with money. I don't want money to even be a factor. I don't want money to determine what I can have, do, and be. I want money. Financial freedom is when money is a non-issue, period. And you can not only do whatever God's calling you to do, you can enable other people to do what God's calling them to do. My 6 months I just spent in Colombia, not only, I didn't need any donations from anyone. I was able to provide funding so that other missionaries who would have otherwise had to return home were able to stay on the field. That's what I call financial freedom. And then there's career freedom. Maybe you like getting up and go to a 9-to-5 job. If so, honestly, this message is not for you. We have other messages for you, other classes for you. You can take our Power of God class and our weight loss class and have the best year ever class. All of those would be for you. But I'm going to be honest with you. If you want a 9-to-5 job and you want to work for the next 10, 20, 30, 40 years, this message, it's not for you. Career freedom means you're free to pursue work that you're genuinely passionate about. Work that's in 100% alignment with your original blueprint. Career freedom is when you're doing what you were put on earth to do. Work that centers around the very best of who God created you to be, not just what someone will pay you to do. See, it's only one piece of it. And a lot of you are just there. You're doing what someone's willing to pay you to do. What about the other two pieces? What you love to do and what you're really great at doing. Geographic freedom. It's amazing. We sent out a survey and we asked people, which of these is most important to you? Spiritual, emotional, career. This geographic freedom is always last place. And the irony is, the number one thing people say they want to do is have the freedom to travel. I guess they're not making the connection. When we talk about geographic freedom, that's what we mean. We mean you are not tied down. You can decide next week that you need to go visit a sick relative. I'll give you an example from my own life. I had been in Colombia for 6 months, came back. I was only back not even like 2 weeks. And I really had a lot that I needed to do and get underway to have my best year ever. And I found out that my brother, who lives alone and has some challenges, I think his dog got out of the house. He ran out of the house barefoot and in a t-shirt in New Jersey, Christmas Day, ran out after the dog fell, hit his head, broke his arm, broke his leg, fell down an embankment, could not get back up. And we believe he was there up to 5 days, freezing to death. When they found him, when the paramedics finally found him, they thought he was dead. He then spent a month and a half in intensive care, and he's still in a rehab facility. Pray for him. His name is Daniel. But my point is, I was able to say, you know what? I'm just going to have to do what's on autopilot. I would have liked to have done more to build Women's Empowerment University this year, but I'm just going to have to settle for what's on autopilot, whatever revenue that's bringing in. And I immediately booked my flight. And the next day I was at my brother's bedside, and I spent 10 days in January praying for my brother. That's geographic freedom. I was able to drop everything and leave my home in Florida to go be with my brother in New Jersey. And you could drop everything right now and go wherever you need to go. You are not tied to any one place. And in this day and age, there's no reason for you to be tied down. As a servant of God, was Paul tied down? No. Paul went all over Asia and Europe. What does geographic freedom look like for you? And as I said, the ironic thing, the top 3 answers that people gave, if you could do anything, I would travel, I would be debt free, and I would live a life of contribution. That's lifestyle freedom. I would travel, I would be debt free, I would live a life of contribution. That right there is the very definition of lifestyle freedom. And it's what this webinar, this training is all about. I'm challenging you right now to think outside the box, especially as Christians. We who have the spirit of wisdom and revelation, we need to be at the forefront of this. Jesus said, go into all the world. I know, I'm stretching you, and I know that, so I'm going to move on. What does lifestyle freedom look like for you? I shared what it looked like for me. And you already told me it looks like some of that. These are just a few of the places that I've gone. My first decision was I'm not going to be ruled by fear. I'm going to live by faith. My next step was to reorder my financial priorities, to stop putting a priority on stuff and put a higher priority on living and serving. You might want to prayerfully consider making that shift as well. This is one of the places that the Lord led me. This is Fiji. And you may recognize, if you've seen my book, The Special Blessings Prayer, I have a feeling that you recognize it because this is the cover of my book, because this is where I wrote that book, living in a hut exactly like that one. Why not take a step in the direction of your dreams? One simple step. And I want you to start by envisioning your ultimate day. And I did this exercise a number of years ago. And the first part of it is, you wake up in the morning. Where are you? This is your ideal life, your ultimate life, your ultimate life. You wake up in the morning. Where are you? What's the first thing you do? What does breakfast look like? After breakfast, what do you do? Are you creating, on the phone, driving somewhere, working? What are you doing? Lunch. What do you do during the lunch hour? After lunch, what does that look like? Working? What are you doing? Who are you with? Alone? With others? Evening comes. Winding down. What is dinner? Who are you with? What are you eating? What are you wearing? What's surrounding you? Winding down, reflecting on the day. Maybe you have a journal and you take it out and reflect on the day. What were the highlights? What were the accomplishments? Time for bed. What time are you in bed? Are you watching TV? What are you doing? Wrapping up your ultimate day with such satisfaction. What did it look like? I did that exercise and I wrote it down and then I recorded it as a voice note because you believe your own voice more than any other voice on earth. And mine said, I wake up in the morning in time to watch the sun rise. I step out onto my deck overlooking the ocean. That was the first sentence. And when I said it, I never, ever dreamed that not only would that come true, but that I would wake up in a villa and my deck would be overlooking the Coral Sea in Fiji, pristine, some of the most pristine waters on earth. And that my deck would not just be overlooking the ocean, but that it would have a ladder that I could climb down and take a morning swim before my breakfast of fresh fruits was served to me. My ultimate day came true because it was a reflection of my desires, those things in my heart and mind that were of the Father, because they reflected God's original design and blueprint for me. And it was in that environment that I wrote what I am certain is my most important and most anointed book, The Special Blessings Prayer. I wrote it over the course of 10 days. And what did I picture myself doing on my ultimate day? Writing. What is your ultimate day? I am telling you, it can come true. And I would do whatever else you get from this experience today. I want you to really spend time with that ultimate day exercise and then ask yourself, but what are some components of that ultimate day that you can begin to make happen? If it included waking up in time for the sunrise, I could do that. I couldn't do it over on my deck overlooking the ocean because I didn't have a deck overlooking the ocean when I recorded it, but I could get up in time for the sunrise. I could do that part. I could take time to write what are some parts of it that you can begin to step into and step in the direction of. And I guess the question, we ask people, what's standing in the way of you fulfilling your dream? And the number one answer was money. And so I real quickly want to do a short teaching. And these are actually from Tamara, and I'm going to turn this over to Tamara in a minute, but she always says, Donna, you're the teacher, so you teach it. And she's put a lot of work into this resource on how you can find money to invest in your business. But these are Tamara's tips. Number one is to study Proverbs. Albert Einstein was pretty smart, and he said, I want to know God's thoughts. The rest are details. Study a minimum of a verse a day in Proverbs. A chapter a day would be better. We all know this. There's 31 chapters in Proverbs, 31 days in most months. Do a chapter a day. Wisdom is just applied knowledge. When I was on the Paula White show, and by the way, she is one of the sweetest, most beautiful, most anointed women I have ever met. And when I was on her show, she had just gone through her second very public divorce. She had been sick, had been so beaten up by the world. And she was just one of the most, she was so anointed, I couldn't keep my head up in her presence. That's how thick the presence of God was on her life. And it just, you may like her, you may not like her, but you know what? God's favor is upon her. And she's now a personal spiritual advisor to the president of the United States. But anyway, that was just a side. Not that Paula needs my endorsement, but I just wanted to share that. When I was on her show, the other guest that day was this guy right here, Stephen K. Scott. And he wrote a book out of his life experience on the book of Proverbs. But this is his story. He was just a regular guy, wasn't born to money, wasn't born to any advantages. I actually think he was like a lawnmower guy, did yard work. And someone shared with him, in fact, Gary Smalley gave him the idea of studying Proverbs every day. And so he said, well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grow wise. And when I become wise, I'm going to become wealthy. That's what the scripture says. And he built, every day he would wake up, read a chapter and then apply it to his business. Stephen K. Scott became not only a millionaire, he became a billionaire with a B. Stephen invented infomercials. You may be glad he did it or not, but he invented infomercials and became a billionaire. And his business, again, nobody handed him anything. And what is an infomercial all about? It's about identifying a problem that a group of people have and coming up with a solution and then offering them that solution. That's what he does. That's his genius. And you can do the same and follow in his footsteps. Read and apply Proverbs every day. Walk with the wise and grow wise. We've all heard the expression, you are who you spend time with. Tamara, are you there? Would you share with us about your decision to walk with the wise and to join a mastermind? I love that story.
Yeah, sure. So there's a big long story about how I got involved in my decision to want to do real estate and some coming out of my comfort zone when I had to borrow funds for my first training and just jump all in. So I understand what it's like. But my biggest investment came when an opportunity arose to be involved with the creme de la creme, the top of the line, real estate gurus, to walk alongside those people I used to sit down in the audience and look up to on stage. And so they put out the offer and I filled out the application, even though the price felt very outside of my comfort zone. That was $10,000. And I have to tell you, it has paid off, like, I could say tenfold, but it's far more than that. Just one relationship alone this last year, just one of those. And this was, I think it was about 7 years ago that I joined this particular mastermind of real estate investors and people who also had the heart like I do to teach others to be real estate investors. So not only did I learn a ton of ways to impact my real estate investing business, but I learned some amazing ways when I was a little, wanting to grow my online business. Just one relationship alone this year in 2016, I just added up one relationship, $187,000, one. So a mastermind group, I like to call mine the master's mind because God is my master, really. But it's really amazing when you get around other people with some guidance, which you always want to have that leader, in human form, that is also listening to what God has to say through them to guide you. But really the mastermind is about everyone providing input on what you absorb and learn. And it's amazing what you can absorb from that. And I remember even, Donna, our meetings, I guess we'll call them. They don't feel like meetings when you're sitting over the ocean and in this beautiful building. Our meetings when people just had these amazing revelations about themselves based on what other people provide, other input. So we have your guidance and the guidance of the leader and then other people's input. My life would not be the same at all if I wouldn't have taken that step I took those years ago. It's actually where I was dubbed, and I know, don't laugh because I think it's really funny, the flippin' queen. Now you're thinking, man, she thinks she's a queen. No, I don't think I'm a queen, but I'm very good at flipping houses. Flipping means buying and quickly reselling. So it was really kind of fun that all these really big gurus who were super millionaire, super smart, super driven, super passionate about helping others pulled me in and dubbed me a queen.
Thanks for sharing that story. And I remember you didn't share this one piece of it, but it began when you read a book. You read a book and then you went to hear the author speak.
Okay, so that was actually my first. Actually, I did two things. So, yeah, so actually, back in the day, I actually was very successful as an entrepreneur starting at 20. I'm going to make a very short story of this. Long story. In about 10 years after my worldly success, I was all haughty, all that in a bag of chips because, I started this at 20 and thought I could just do it. And then suddenly
people may not know, they may not have read the fine print, but you had your first $1 million business at 20.
Yes, exactly. I had my family working for me. I had other employees. I had 8 trucks. I had a franchise, and it was all about giving even at that point. It was a clothes business for residents in nursing homes. So kind of totally different from what I'm doing now. But what happened was I fell on my face during that time. It was a recession, and the government actually took away the opportunity for nursing homes to pay for clothes, which pretty much caused me to be just a nonprofit organization. And I didn't know how to make that a nonprofit. So little by little, that company went bankrupt. And with that bankruptcy followed foreclosure, which was devastating, which followed a divorce, which followed at the same time, my mom ended up getting cancer, and I was very close with her and actually living with her and taking care of her. And she died in that time frame. And then the worst of the worst, I got in a really bad car accident, probably because I had too many things on my mind and was bedridden. So I went from super successful financially on worldly success to nothing, literally. And during that time, in what Donna was referring to, when I was on my way back to world again, back to getting on my feet, I know God had, just like some of you may be feeling, I know God has more for me than this. It's not over. And I was finally trying to reach out for some of that hope, getting my health back. And I was getting on a plane, and I went through a sundries shop in an airport, and there was this book that just jumped out on me. And I do feel like it was God that had me grab that book. And it was a book by Mark Victor Hansen and Robert Allen. And I read it, and I read it really and I just felt like, oh, this is it. I have hope again. I can do it. I was just missing the boat. I buried everything into one thing, and really we need to diversify and follow our passions. So I found out shortly thereafter that these guys were going to be just a few hours away, and at this point had gotten a job, a job, knowing that wasn't where I belonged. And I went, even though I had no money to really spend because the event was free. But we know at those free events, they always sell things. So I was sitting in the front row, excited to accept the opportunity they gave to be mentored and coached by them. And I raised my hand. I don't know how that happened because I had no money at all. And that raising hand was $5,000. So I'm sitting there after I raised my hand and signed up that I had no money. I'm like, okay, I just said yes. Now how am I going to do this? So I actually on that break went and called a friend and who had obviously a lot of faith in me, and they allowed me to put it on their credit card. And I knew I'd scrub toilets to pay that credit card off, and they knew I would too. But I also had a lot of confidence in who I was aligning myself with. So I actually took that and did it. And 1 year later, I had my first real estate deal where I took an $80,000 check. Quickly quit my job and haven't looked back since. Done about 300 plus deals since then, many online businesses, lots of amazing relationships and amazing experiences, and all because I stepped out of my comfort zone and took that leap. And I hope maybe that's the story you were thinking.
You amaze me. You know why? Because you play with the big boys. One check is $80,000. You do these $1 million deals, and you know what? I'm not there. And maybe some people listening right now, you play that big, and I want to get there. And so wherever you are, maybe you're listening to Tamara and you're like, wow, $1 million businesses at 20 and wheeling and dealing. Just God will meet you where you are. The point that I wanted to share out of that is walk with the wise to grow wise. And that's what she did. She said, she proactively sought out mentors. Somebody wrote a book. She loved their book. She went to meet them. And here's the other side. Keep away from people who try to belittle your ambitions. Small people always do that, but the really great make you feel like you too can become great. And that's something that Tamara has done for me. She continually, we've known each other for a decade, constantly calling me out and saying, Donna, you're playing small again. And I'm glad I have her in my life for that reason. Read your way to success. And again, going back to where her journey began, sometimes you can't meet them in person. If you can, you should. But if you can't, study what the wealthy do by reading, and not just wealthy, prosperous, people whose life is working. Okay. Because you can make money. Mike Tyson made money knocking people unconscious, but is he truly a prosperous person in every area of his life? No. So read biographies of people who prospered in every way, and specifically of people who've prospered in the way that you want to prosper. Dave Ramsey says this: 80% of the wealthy read 30 minutes or more each day for education or career. And it's something that 2% of the poor do. And books are free. You can get access to books so cheaply. And here's the truth. If you will pick one topic, that's the key. Focus, focus, focus. If you pick one topic that you're passionate about, read about it 30 minutes a day for 3 months, you're an expert. Then you parlay that expertise into a successful business or income stream, if you don't like the word business. Because I know I'm in ministry and I'm like, oh, business. That sounds like Tamara. I don't know how to do a business, but I can help a lot of people. Okay? Now, this is number 4. Write down what you really want. I mean, seriously, that's one thing I do, and I do it with pen and paper. And if you've been in my class, Best Year Ever, you know all these principles. I share some of it in the free ebook that we're going to send you, Becoming the Ultimate You. But the biggest difference between those who dream and those who actually get what they dream is just real simple. They wrote it down. And not just write it down, review it often. I review my annual goals every day. I review my monthly goals every day. I review my weekly goals every day. I review my daily goals throughout the day. I didn't just write down my New Year's resolutions back in December 31st. They're with me every day. And the other free gift we're sending you, as I mentioned, the Goals Rush. Write them down. Use that form. And you can actually email them. Tamara gives you her email address. You can send them to her. Again, people think they have a money problem. No, they have an inability to focus problem. So write down your goals. Break them into action steps. And then every day say, okay, if I can only do one thing, one that's going to move me forward toward the life I want, a life and business I love, toward lifestyle freedom, what one thing, not 2 things, not 10 things, not 20, one thing should I focus on? Write down what you want, then work on what you wrote, period. That simple. Develop wealthy habits. I'm going to run through this really quickly, but I think it's fascinating. And I'll send you all of these slides so you can review it in more in depth. These are the habits of the wealthy, habits of the prosperous. And you maybe already have a lot of these, but I think it's a good checklist to kind of monitor yourself and see, how can I bump it up a notch? How can I step up my game and play a little bit bigger? 70% of the wealthy eat less than 300 junk food calories per day. And why does that matter? Because what you eat affects your brain capacity. It affects your energy level. It affects your ability to show up and play at your best. 23% of the wealthy gamble. 80% of the wealthy are focused on accomplishing some single goal. I'm not going to read the contrast. You can see it for yourself. 76% of the wealthy exercise aerobically 4 days a week. Why does that matter? Because aerobics is about your lungs and your brain. Your lung capacity affects how much oxygen is being pumped to your brain. Get it? Aerobics. It affects your ability to perform and to focus. 63% of the wealthy listen to audiobooks during their commute or podcast. First thing I do in the morning is I put on a podcast. You can get podcasts for free on any topic. Name the topic, and you have a smartphone, type it in and listen to a podcast instead of watching Good Morning America or the Today Show or some other nonsense that teaches you nothing. Take that same time and learn something. 81% of the wealthy maintain a to-do list and pay attention to it. Do you? And is that to-do list has to be something specific. You've set your vision for your life. And then out of that, if I'm going to live that life, what do I have to do this year? Okay. If I'm going to do that this year, what do I need to do this month? Okay. If I'm going to do that this month, in order to do that this year, in order to fulfill my life, the original design of God on my life, what do I have to do this week? If I have to do that this week, what do I have to do today? If I have to do that today, what do I have to do right now? That's what it takes. That's the level of focus that it takes. And that has nothing to do with whether or not your parents had money. It has nothing to do with where you were born or where you live on planet Earth. It has nothing to do with school you went to. It has nothing to do with the color of your skin. It has nothing to do with anything except what you choose to focus on. That's it. It's that simple. 67% of the wealthy write down their goals, and I would say, I guarantee, review them often. 79% of the wealthy do what Tamara just talked about, networking. This is a weakness for me. This is probably one of my greatest weaknesses. I don't network. And then what do I have to do? I have to do everything myself because I don't have other people helping me along. I need to work on that. See, I'm honest. This is a big one. 60% of the wealthy watch 1 hour or less of TV. How much TV do you watch? Tell you, get rid of it. That television is standing in between you and your destiny. Get rid of it. You don't need it. I haven't had a television in my life in about 30 years since I became a Christian. So how many years is that? Anybody? Is it 37 years? I don't have TV. I don't do TV. It's not part of my life. Now, of course, you can get TV shows on your laptop, and sometimes I'll watch Downton Abbey or something, but I'm not staring at the television, and the commercials are really the problem because they hypnotize you. I'm moving on. 6% of the wealthy watch reality TV shows. How about you? I'm talking about how you can step up your game. If you would just make a change in one of these areas, how many of you would say that you have room for improvement in some of these areas? 40%, this is big, and I'm working on this one this year. 44% of the wealthy wake up 3 hours before their workday starts. I am really doing this because I'm not a morning person. I'm getting up at 6:30 no matter what. And I'm trying not to do any work before 10 o'clock. Those first hours are for my own personal and professional development. Those first 3 hours are for me to take care of my spirit, soul, and body, to exercise, to read, to pray, to do what I need to do to be at my best to face the day. And do you do that, or you just roll out of bed at the last minute? 84% of the wealthy believe that good habits, not luck, create opportunity. And 76% of the wealthy understand that bad habits, not bad luck, lead to failure. 86% of the wealthy believe in lifelong educational self-improvement, constant personal and professional development. This is probably one of my strengths. I'm constantly not only learning, but applying what I learn. And I have a mindset on ROI. I invested $200 in a health coach, and that got me 5 sessions with her. I did 1 session and then didn't do anything else with it for 2 months. You know why? Because it's about ROI. That first session with that coach gave me more than $200 worth. She gave me a great idea that I ran with and immediately implemented. And the mistake that some people make is, well, now I've got to, like even this hour, like, oh, I can't remember everything she said, so I can't do anything about it. No, take one little nugget of what I just shared, one thing that really applies to you. Record your ultimate day vision. Write it down, read it, record it as a voice note. And then what did I do? I listened to it every day, but constantly be investing in your personal growth. And don't approach it like a smorgasbord where you've got to shove it all down your throat or you didn't get your money's worth. If you get one nugget, and like Tamara said, one relationship, she spent $10,000 to join that mastermind group. And out of one relationship in just 1 year, she made $187,000. Do you think she's worried about what she didn't get or which audios or sessions she didn't attend? No. That's the mindset that you need to acquire. And I know it's a big shift for a lot of us. Again, we think we have a shortage of opportunity problem. What do we have? A wisdom, are you noticing a trend of wisdom problem? And everybody has setbacks. Tamara shared honestly about hers. I'll share honestly about mine. Tamara and other people had helped me invest in real estate. And the minute the real estate market in Phoenix crashed, what did I do? I panicked and sold at a loss. So now I've got to, regain. The wise person, now I won't make that mistake again. The wise person picks himself up, gets back up, rolls her sleeves, learns from your mistakes, gathers some wisdom, and moves on. The Bible says God is able, even if you, like Tamara, went bankrupt, even like me, lost a bunch of money in real estate. God is still able to bless you abundantly. Many of you, I'm sure, have faced loss. If we want to do a loss swap, we could do that right now. You could type it into the chat box over there, what you lost. We've been through a season of famine, but here's the beautiful thing. We're moving now into a season of abundance, but you need to position yourself. You need to get the training and the tools. You need to have the relationships. You need to make the investments of time, money, effort to position yourself, because the problem is never with God. God is able. Oh, he is able. Don't worry about God on this. God is able to bless you abundantly so that in all things, at all times, even when the next famine comes, and it will, having all that you need, you'll abound in every good work. God's not the missing part of the equation here. And you know what else isn't messed up? The original blueprint. So you've got the original blueprint for your life. You've got God who designed the blueprint. Both of those things are perfect. No problem with either of those. The gap is you. Developing the habits and making the choices and the decisions that will enable you to live out the original design with the help of the designer. If you'll find the courage to pursue your dreams, God will give you wisdom to succeed. Number 6, again, tithing. You don't wait, when I have a bunch of money, I'll give it to God. No, you give God the first fruits. How quick was that for number 6? Number 7, the Bible says, how's this for a Bible verse? Hard workers get rich. That's what the Bible says. So here's an idea. Work hard. And taking action is huge. At some point, you got to put feet to your faith. And again, that's something, we're in the information, or we're actually post-information age, and there's just this deluge of information, you could spend the rest of your life just taking in information, and it won't do you any good. You have to be wise. You have to get a little information and then take action on it. Get some information, take action on it. Get a little information, take action on it. You don't need to know everything that there is conceivably to know. Get some info, take action. Get some info, take action. Do you have enough information to take action? Take action. Investing in what we believe God is calling us to do. That is the kind of action that I'm talking about. And developing skill. And I put this out again. We do these surveys. I do surveys from time to at least 4 times a year of the people on my list. How much money have you invested? Come on now, be honest. And maybe you could type it in the chat right now. Be honest. How much money have you invested to learn the tools and techniques required to be truly excellent at what you do right now? Or more importantly, at what you really feel that God designed you to do? How much money have you invested in that? I sent it out as a survey question, specifically to people who responded and said, yes, I feel called by God. And this was the number 1 answer, by the way, of the survey we just did for this webinar. Before we started, we did a survey and said, if money, time, money, no limit, you could do anything. The number 1 answer was, I would take my message to the world. I would write, speak, and take my life message to the world. This was the group of people we asked who had raised their hand and said, yes, I have a life message that I believe God wants me to take to the world. And we asked them, okay, that's you. You've raised your hand. You've said, that's who you are. You're the person we're looking for. How much money have you invested to learn the tools and techniques required to communicate that life message effectively? I almost fell on the floor. The number 1 answer by a country, not by a little, by a country mile. The number 1 answer was nothing. Nothing. Less than 500 is nothing. I've invested nothing. I believe God put me on the earth today and gave me a message that the world desperately needs to hear. I know that's what I'm supposed to be doing, and I've invested nothing in it. God is not going to entrust you with more resources, and he's certainly not going to put you in charge of a city. No, indeed. That was an ouch-a-leah. We're moving on. Prosperous people purchase the same stuff. Like most people were doing that survey on their $2,000 Mac or their multi-$100 iPad. They could have written off that Mac computer. They could have written off that iPad. They could have written off that iPhone. They could have written off the internet that they were using to fill it out. They could have written off the room that they were sitting in their house. They could have written off the trip to Starbucks. You could write off so much. If you would structure, just declare yourself, I'm in business now. It takes about 2 seconds to put up a web page. And then you get massive tax write-offs. If I tell people, design a life and a business you love if for no other reason than to save money on your taxes. The Bible says render unto Caesar what is Caesar's, but it doesn't say that you're not allowed to take advantage of the tax opportunities. And the average person can save $8,000 a year just by having your own business. And you could just do that as a sole proprietor. So again, just to recap the steps to prosperity, read and study a minimum of one verse a day out of Proverbs. A chapter would be better. Walk with the wise. If you see someone who is where you want to be, then you need to go and be with them. Read to develop expertise. Write down what you really want and review it often. Develop wealthy habits, tithe. So now it's time to evaluate. What are some things that are taking up your time and attention right now, but not benefiting you in any way? Those are the things that need to go. That's what you need to get free of. If you want to lead the life you were born to live, a life that you will love, a life that's truly prosperous. Something has to go. You got to get rid of the time wasters, got to get rid of the money wasters, the energy drains, and begin walking in wisdom. Do you want to know how to achieve spiritual freedom, emotional freedom, financial freedom, time freedom, career freedom, geographic freedom, total lifestyle freedom? One word. It's how to achieve everything. Wisdom. Wisdom. The beginning of wisdom is this: get wisdom. Though it cost all you have, get understanding. Invest in yourself and your future. Invest in the future me. Here's the reality. 80% of all jobs will be in the information technology business. 80% of jobs will be related to the internet. It's about turning what you already know or can easily learn by focused research into products and programs to share over the internet, so you can reach people anywhere in the world from anywhere in the world. That's just one way. That's kind of my passion. But the age of the expert is here, whether through podcasting, coaching, consulting, as Tamara does, investing, and then she also does coaching and consulting to help other people become real estate investors, internet marketing. By the way, was this helpful? Let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how helpful was this? Did this really stretch your thinking? We want to invite you to come and spend 7 days with us. And again, we know it's not for everyone because we can't fit everyone. This is going to be a very small, intimate setting. We're going to spend 7 days with a very select, hand-picked group of people. You can't sign up for it. You can apply. I'll tell you right now. Tamara made that rule. You can't just say, oh, yeah, I'll sign up. No. You have to go through an application process. And if you're wondering if 7 days away from it all can really change your life, I'm living proof that it can. Because 37 years ago, a friend invited me to go away for 7 days. And it was just in New Jersey. You know, so he thinks 7 days in New Jersey changed the entire course of my life. And I've been on that trajectory for 37 years. Because I took 7 days to dare to dream. 7 days away from the people who surrounded me. All the people who'd say, Donna, that's a crazy idea. You'll never be that. You'll never do anything. 7 days away from the mundane and dreaming of what was possible changed my life forever. It was there sitting by the river by myself that the power of God came on my life and set me free. And the next night, under a beautiful moonlit sky, I heard God speak to me. And he told me what the original design was. He said, Donna, I'm going to take you all over the world and I'm going to use you in a mighty way for my kingdom. And through all the ups and downs and the highs and the lows and all the mistakes that I've made and all the setbacks that I've faced, no devil in hell, no person on earth could ever take away from me the power of that moment and the power of those 7 days that I took away from my limited life to dream big and dream with God. 7 days away can change the course of your life. And I can tell you this for sure, saying yes to that invitation, that opportunity was the second best decision of my life. The very best decision was the decision I made while I was there. And that was the decision to give my life totally to God, to say yes to anything he asked. I said, God, you have pulled me from the pit. I will go anywhere. I will do anything. I will say anything. I will do anything you ask. And my life right now, I'm at the point where I can literally do it. That's why lifestyle freedom matters so much to me and why I'm so passionate about it. This is one of the fearsome secrets of the wise. They make decisions in the presence of God from a place of abundance and possibility after seeking wisdom from the wise. And this is something I tell my daughters all the time, probably once a week. Only take advice from people who are living the life you want to live. I'll say that again. Only take advice from people who are living the life you want to live. The life you sense deep within reflect God's original design, your original blueprint. But those people, listen to them. With all you're getting, get wisdom. Get wisdom from who? From God and from the people who are living the life you want to live. Though it cost you all you have, get that kind of wisdom. And now Tamara and I would like to tell you about a special invitation to join us for 7 days in Costa Rica, where we'll really bring these concepts of lifestyle freedom, designing a life and business you love, bring them home and make them personal and real in your life. This is going to be the adventure of a lifetime. And we've chosen the amazing tropical paradise of Costa Rica. And if you're in North or South America, from most cities in those two continents, it's just a 4 or 5 hour flight. It's really close at hand. And in the past, we've done this in Fiji, and that was a 2-day trip. So we wanted to make it more accessible this year. Costa Rica is a land of tropical rainforest, so lush green mountains, even volcanoes. I don't know. Do we want to climb one? It's a land of endless beaches, pristine, warm waters. It's on both the Pacific Ocean and the Caribbean. Countless waterfalls and hot springs. It's a land teeming with wildlife like playful monkeys and exotic birds. How about a sloth? Never have a day where you feel like a sloth. Maybe we shouldn't mention this. This might be dangerous, but Costa Rica is the source for some of the finest coffee and chocolate in the world. Hey, it's a vacation. You're allowed. It's the land of Pura Vida. Pura Vida means hello, goodbye, have a great day, glad I met you. It's kind of the all-purpose word. If you've been to Hawaii, it's like aloha. If you went to Fiji with us, it's like bula. It means the simple life or pure life. In Costa Rica, it's more than a saying. It's an optimistic way of life. And until you've been to Costa Rica, you're not going to truly know what Pura Vida feels like, because it's an emotion, an attitude. It's a pathway to happiness. And Costa Ricans say once you visit it, you'll understand the true meaning of Pura Vida. And I've been blessed to travel to Costa Rica before, and it truly is just a spectacular, so green, spectacular country. So bye-bye, hectic world. Bye-bye, everybody who needs you and putting demands on you. Walk away and come away with God and come away with us for 7 days. And our goal during the 7 days, as I said, is to, kind of land the plane. I've shared in this presentation the concepts and what's possible. We would kind of make this practical for you and for you to gain total clarity and a solid blueprint to live the rest of your life in the absolute epicenter of God's will for you to have, do, and be all that's possible. Just reading a book, wonderful pastor. He's been in ministry for decades and planted churches all over Russia. And he also has a radio and TV ministry. And he says the number one thing that comes in to his ministry when people write or reach out for help is they want to know God's will. They want to know God's will for their life. And that's what these 7 days are all about. Jesus said the Bible says it's for freedom that Christ has set us free. A lifestyle freedom. What does that look like for you as a believer? It's earning more. And so we'll have personal branding session that'll empower you to position yourself as an expert in your field. But of course, it's got to be a brand that's congruent with both your personal and your professional life. So we'll kind of brainstorm with you. How can you bring those together? And then we're going to help you craft a compelling personal or business narrative that really sets you apart as the go-to person in your sphere of influence. And of course, all of those things are going to enable you to earn more while working less. We're going to walk you through 4 steps to uncover the pillars in your compelling story. Discover what you stand for and what you stand against. Those are both critical components of your life message. And then once you have that message, kind of identify, listen for, and find the confidence to lift up your authentic voice and let your voice be heard in the world. That's why you're on planet Earth. And then how to literally become a magnet for those who want and need the answers that you bring, that people will be drawn to you. That's when it really gets fun. And we also will talk about the cash flow quadrant, specifically how you can move from either, where are you now? You're an employee or you're a slave to your own business or professional practice. Last year, we had a lot of medical practitioners, doctors and nurses, and they wanted to move from being an employee or a slave to their practice into true lifestyle freedom. And we're going to share with you the 10 best strategies to secure your financial future now. And of course, it's also about working less. Lifestyle freedom isn't just about earning more. It's about working less for the same or even better return on investment. Sometimes with work, less is more. You've got to have that breathing room. You've got to have that space for what they now call deep work and to bring the best of who you are to the world. So we're going to help you discover how to leverage your experience to create not just one, but multiple streams of income and to put some of those on autopilot so that while you're doing other things, while you're living your life and serving others and serving God, you've still got income coming in. And then how to leverage your time through coaching, teaching, speaking, writing, and other high value 21st century skills as an online expert, and how to generate instant income at any time. This is a powerful tool that we're going to put in your hands before you create the product or program that you're selling. And then to live free. That's the goal, yeah? To live in the freedom, to live the abundant life that Jesus died for us to have. Discover how fun and profitable world travel can be. Hint, when you dare to live the life of your dreams, people are going to be drawn to you. And guess where money comes from? It comes from people, resources. Everything comes from God through people. And when you're living a life of adventure, more and more people are going to be drawn to you and want to know your secrets and want to learn from you and listen to your wisdom. Get revelation about why time and geographic freedom may be, and in my mind, definitely are, far more accurate barometers of true prosperity than your financial bottom line. How your life can change for the better when you earn income in one currency and live on another, and exactly how to do that. And I've been doing that, kind of experimenting with that for the past few years. And let me tell you, you can live like a king, you can live like a queen in other countries on income. You earn income in US dollars or euros and pay VA, virtual assistants, in rupees, people in India, or pay people in the Philippines, and then maybe live on pesos somewhere in Latin America. And you can live a tremendous lifestyle. I know that's not for everybody, but hey, it might just be for you. It's definitely for me. In an environment, all of this in an environment where everything's possible. You kind of think, get out of the box, get out of the routine, and look at your life and your future and your possibilities in a whole new way. In a place where you're living a great adventure. That's where you're going to discover your own definition of freedom. And you will amaze yourself with what you have the courage to do and who you can become when you throw off limitations and limiting beliefs. You're going to be going through an intense transformational process. And when you do, like we're going to be doing these 7 days, it's spiritually powerful. I know there's some little spelling errors there. I'm noticing them. But it also raises lots of practical questions and even emotional issues. So after each of the teaching sessions, there'll be time to kind of work it out and work it into your life. This isn't going to just be like a workshop in a pretty place. It's going to be transformational, experiential. And Tamara is going to be leading these sessions, and you have the freedom, to kind of come and go, to participate in group or small groups and one-on-ones, or just spend time processing on your own, because we all deal with the material and the experience differently, and you have the freedom to do that. It's completely up to you. Our goal is to see you grow exponentially, for this to be life changing, and to extract every drop of learning, adventure, and transformation as you can out of this experience, 7 days to freedom in Costa Rica. We'll be there to celebrate your victories and to press and to pray through to breakthrough. And we've done this, and it's just been so life changing for people. But of course, I mean, it's not going to be all work. Hello, it's Costa Rica. You're in a tropical paradise, a land of beauty and adventure like no other. So we will definitely be lining up some incredible adventures for you. And an insider tip, this is a little off the beaten path, but I threw it in. Costa Rica is one of the top retirement destinations in the world. And as I said, you can live like a king or a queen on a very modest income. But Costa Rica is a magnet for digital nomads. What's a digital nomad? That's someone who has total lifestyle freedom. They can live and work anywhere in the world, and they do. Their home is wherever their head hits the pillow that night. Their office is wherever they wake up and decide to work. Huge, huge trend right now. And I wish more Christians, and I believe and prophesy that more and more Christians are going to become digital nomad missionaries, going anywhere in the world at a moment's notice because they're not tied down. And of course, it's a magnet, as I already said, for retirees. When you're ready to retire, and I put that in, kind of quotes, because I don't think any believer should ever retire until Jesus comes back or calls us home. There's always more work to do, more service to render. But you can stretch. I mean, that Social Security check or little pension, retirement fund income, whatever you have, you can stretch that. By the way, super safe, totally safe. Very much a bilingual country. But you're going to return home focused, invigorated, with a solid, customized plan to maximize your life, your productivity, your health, relationships, and overall prosperity. This is about your destiny. And let me tell you, a few days of empowerment cost much less than years of living below the level of your God-given potential. Now, about the event, 7 Days to Freedom event has been birthed through decades of experience working with both men and women from around the globe. I've focused more on women. Tamara, definitely men and women. People have repeatedly shared with us that their lives have been radically transformed as a result. We've created this opportunity just for you. It's an exclusive dream trip where you can experience this teaching in a powerful, life-changing way in Costa Rica. And yes, we are going to go to that exact locale that you're seeing on the screen. Can't wait. And we're going to ride that very zip line. So brace yourself. And I've done zip lines before. It is so much fun. You're going to love it. And it's so symbolic to me. A zip line, someone has gone ahead of you and they've set the whole thing up. And they've put the whole system in place so that you can go from point A to point B in a hurry and an exhilarating ride and loving it the whole way. And that's what we've tried to do for you. We've gone ahead for you. And we've put all the systems in place that are going to speed your journey and help you get from where you are now to where you want to be way faster than you ever dreamed possible. And it's going to be an exhilarating ride. So I can't wait to do this zip line with you. We will be staying at this fabulous resort on the Pacific coast in Costa Rica. Your classroom is going to look something like this. How's that for a place to gather and brainstorm? Don't you think you could think great thoughts and redesign your life? Sitting there in that tropical, or how about swimming around in that beautiful pool, sunning by day, watching the stars by night. You'll have a beautiful room with either a jungle, rainforest, or ocean view. A little bit more of an upgrade if you want the ocean view. And we'll have to get you a massage. That's an actual photo of someone getting a massage at the resort where we will be staying. And fabulous food. In fact, their chef was featured on one of the famous chef shows. So wonderful cuisine, everything included. This event is by application only because there's a lot of masterminding and brainstorming. And we want to make sure that we're all on the same page. And so Tamara actually handpicks all the people who will attend. And you can learn more about the 7 Days to Freedom, Designing a Life and Business You Love event at the 7daystofreedom.com website. And you'll see a button there where you can apply. And in a few minutes, I'm going to have Tamara tell you a little bit more about how the application process is going to work. I just want to remind you that you will all be receiving, if you apply, free gifts. That's the Goals Rush form, my book, wonderful book, Becoming the Ultimate You, and Tamara's incredible resource, The 77 Ways to Find Money. And we're going to send that out to all of you for being part of this. And now, Tamara, why don't you tell them just a little bit about a bonus free gift, a complimentary strategy session with Tamara. And this is going to be available to at least the first 10. And knowing Tamara, yeah, she'll do 10 for sure. If she, that's guaranteed. And if she has time, I know the way you are, Tamara, you'll go above and beyond and do more, but you have to fill out the application, and Tamara will prayerfully review all of those. And if she feels that you'll benefit from a complimentary 30-minute strategy session with her, then she'll get in contact with you. Tamara, why don't you tell them a little bit about how that's going to work?
Thank you, Donna. Thank you for sharing. And I am so excited to meet you. I am putting out there that I want to personally work through some things with some of you. I'm gonna go through the applications, and I'm gonna pick some people who qualify and who are interested in meeting with me. And I want to work through your top 3 challenges that you typed on your application. And I'm going to be offering a strategy session, basically, with you at no charge when you fill out the application and you're chosen. So we're going to be planning some steps as you take to prepare to possibly join us. And no matter what, our time together on that strategy session is I intend for you to walk away with some real nuggets that are personalized to your business, your following your dreams, and your decision to begin to take the steps toward the freedom in your life that you want. And now I'm going to invite you to go to the application page now. And you're going to hit the application button on the top of that page. And once you've submitted your application, you're going to watch for an email from me in the next couple of days. And keep in mind, I normally charge like $500 an hour for my coaching sessions. And just by filling out the application and being chosen, there will be no charge for that conversation and no pressure at all. Just, I have a real heart. I actually am a certified life coach by a Christian life coaching organization. I choose to use that skill and ability and certification to focus on business building for others. But we all know that our business are tied into our life. And so I will be working with a few of you on the phone for about 30 minutes, talking about what it is that you want to do with your life, and hopefully making a plan for you to join us.
1 half-hour strategy session with you earned me $17,000, just as an example. Just one idea that you gave me, and it was less than a half hour that we sat there. So it's incredibly valuable. So everybody who applies is going to get the 3 gifts. Those who qualify, who have the criteria that, Tamara thinks that she feels confident she can help you. She has committed to 10. This is a huge commitment. I mean, she has coaching clients who are part of her $18,000 a year program. That's mostly who gets her time. But she's committed that she will do at least 10. Okay, so I would, if I were you, get the application in right away, 7daystofreedom.com. That's your best chance of getting to qualify. We really would love for you to join us. We have been friends for a decade, and we always have a great time at these events, and we look forward to being with you 7 days in Costa Rica for the adventure of a lifetime and helping you design a life and business that you'll truly love.
I highly, highly recommend it. They said it's going to be the best week of our lives, and I was a bit skeptical about that, but it's true. It really is true. God revealed something to me that truly is life-changing and is redirecting my life and is giving me greater freedom than I've ever had. So if you have an opportunity to come, absolutely do it. It's huge.
and learning about the 5 information products and how I can get what's passionate to me out to the world and actually earn an income on it. So I love that part of the class. Well, on a scale of 1 to 10, I would rate this week with Donna Partow and Tamara Aragon as an 11. Seriously, I highly encourage, if you are even considering going to this event, if you have a little voice inside of you that is just like, well, maybe I wonder if I can make this work, I highly encourage you. This will change your life. You won't regret it. You will love it. It will just change the course of your life. And so I highly encourage you, join Donna Partow and Tamara Aragon on their next live event. You'll love it. Thank you very much.
There were so many highlights of the week. We did outstanding activities. One day building on the other, you kept thinking nothing can top this, and then the next thing topped it. You know, I really liked the fact that the presenters didn't just present information, but they really worked to get something that's very practical and something that you can go home with. Now, again, not just ideas, but a plan for transforming your life, really, and a real focus on how you do it, not just things to do, but how you really do it. I really like that. And the interaction between the presenters and the students was very, very good, too.
Oh, this week was definitely my best week. It was 10 because not only did I get to experience Fiji, but I got to experience the people, and the relationships there can't even begin to describe. So it was unbelievable. The events, the activities, everything was unbelievable. When I arrived this week, I had the question of what am I supposed to be even doing, and I just didn't know. But clearly, as I'm leaving, I know what I'm going to be doing. I know what I'm going to get back, and I'm very excited about it. So,
first of all, being a Fijian, staying here in Fiji, and having this seminar come over to where I'm living, and meeting people from everywhere, and we all putting together our knowledge and what we learned from the speaker. That was very motivational and very interesting. And from what I learned, I started to realize who I am and the possibility of making my life better and enjoying a life, a free lifestyle. And when I come to experience that joy of living a life to an ultimate level, then I can impact to others around me. So
That's
I
right.
see it as something that we possess, and we can also contribute so that other people can have the same joy.
You know, the event reaffirmed what I'd already heard from the Lord in a really powerful way. Not just with the classroom time, but the time that you take what you learned and come out to the rainforest and listen to the birds and reflect on what it is actually you're passionate about and what God's created you to do. And that was the most important thing for me. Without a doubt, 100%, I would recommend that you would come to this and try it. I would say this to you. The most important part of designing your life is taking the first step. And it might be a huge step to say that you're going to come to Fiji, but if you'll just take that first step and say, I will, you'll never be the same again. Promise.
I think that's the biggest part for me, is that I feel free. Like, I had lifestyle freedom. I really did. So if I could encourage anyone, it's just to take that leap of faith and trust the Lord and trust that He's gonna direct your steps. And Tamara and Donna are gonna be right there with you. They were so gracious, so so kind. I felt every single day like they were excited to be here, that they were for us, wanted to help us, wanted to get everyone to the next step. No one was left behind, or that's how I feel. And it was a privilege every single day. So if I could just encourage anybody to just trust the process, and trust the Lord first, and then trust the process, and trust Tamara and Donna, because they're awesome, and I love them.
And I think the biggest thing that I take away is to actually have a plan, to know how to break it down yearly, monthly, daily, and to move forward. And it doesn't have to take 5 hours a day. You can take 1 hour a day and work towards your goals, and you are accomplishing. And it also gives the technical things that you need to know, going to the government and how to set those up. So I'm very excited about that and having all the tools that I need. And I just want to say to Donna and Tamara, thank you so much. The impact that you've made on my life this week. Donna, you've impacted my life for the last 2 years, and I truly love you. And thank you. It's been a life-changing week, and this really is the best week of my life.
I have been here at Costa Rica for the Lifestyle Freedom Change, and I just absolutely enjoyed it. One of the breakthrough moments, or what I'm calling as a transformation moment, we saw dragonflies. So dragonflies equal transformation. So is my deeper connection that I had got with the Lord, and my clarity in terms of his purpose over my life. One thing I have been praying for as I get this journey with the Lord is, show me your purpose over my life. And I have definitely found my calling, and I know it was because the Lord's presence was here, and so super excited about that. One thing that I am definitely going to take home is my defined plan that I create out of here, scoping out time to make sure I move a step towards implementing God's plan. I'm so motivated, and I don't want to lose that, so I'm going home with a plan, so that way I know what I got to do when I get home. And so that transformation for me is because I don't want to carry this with me, but also try to show my kids that for an entrepreneurship, especially with online marketing, there's stuff they can do as well, because my oldest is about to go off to college, and what better way to make a couple dollars that I don't have to give him while he's there. So super excited, highly recommend it. If you two are listening, please invite me back for the reunion tour, because I'll be back. But thank you.
And so going home, I feel confident in being able to move forward because I have clarity in my strengths, in my focus on what I want to go forward in. And I also learned that I do not have to be 100% sure that this is exactly where I want to go. I can just be 60% sure and just move forward, and then it can evolve, it can move on from there. So I'm excited to put this into practice when I get home, having the tools and resources and with just pulling together everything I've learned here this week.
My breakthrough was just celebrating and embracing what my strengths are, and moving forward to looking at how to arrange my life to utilize those and live out of that more fully with the support of those I've met along the way on this trip. So it's pura vida is what they say here.
And when I think of this week, it has been amazing. And one of the best parts, one of the breakthroughs was not actually just an event or a particular aha. It was really in seeing the partnership between Donna and Tamara and how that works. Because I think that retreats or conferences or workshops will be something that is an offering that I will be providing in the future as well. And so just seeing how they have done it and how they have built their businesses that also incorporate that as a part of it is really just great, as well as looking at a terrific partnership that really brings in two people who have very different talents but work incredibly well together. Has been wonderful for me. And the thing that I think I will take home that is going to be the best for me is just the focus. You know, being able to take ideas that I've been having, things that I have been already kind of planning, but sticking it down into a much more detailed plan of action and having it with a timeline and knowing that this is what I want to focus on.